Okay. Hi, everybody. Welcome to today's community call for April 9th. The topic today, we are exploring some open space topics. My name is Erin McAuley. I'm the RCC admin assistant. She, her, they, any pronouns are welcome for me. Let's see here. Now, yeah, if you'd like to update your names to reflect your name, your retreat center, your preferred pronouns, you're welcome to do that. We invite that. And I will be sharing here just really quickly our RCC values and community agreements, just to get us all in the same space together. Glad to have you all here with us, especially those of you who are just joining us. Welcome, welcome. Let's see. Now, before we get our calls started, we just like to people to get to know us a little bit more. If you're joining us for the first time, these are the core values of RCC. These represent us and the energy that we're bringing into the world and trying to help connect each other with. The power of place and space, the interplay of inner and outer work, and a commitment to universal flourishing. There's a little bit more that goes into those, and I'll paste a link into the chat so that you can find out more about our core values if you'd like to. Our community agreements, we do ask that you speak from your own experience, that your voice and your story are important. So if you feel something rising up in you as we're going through our discussions today, and you might have a little voice that tells you, no, it's not important to say that, we do invite you to speak up anyway, because it's probably important. You might have something that's people need to hear, whether or not you know it. We're all knowers and learners in this space. So there might be something that you're an expert on that we really need to learn from you. And there might be something that you don't know a lot about, and you might find out that someone in this community does and can help you learn some more. So yeah, we come to that space with that humbleness and knowing that we can all help each other out, fill in the blind spots. We all have different parts of the elephant, as you know. Silence can be centering, movement and sound can be too. So we might use practices that take us into quiet, meditative spaces. We may also employ movement and sound to also get us into a centered space together. We also do ask that you keep other stories confidential and share what you learn. So basically what that means is if someone tells a personal story here, you can take the essentials of that story and spread that learning around, but to try to keep names and very personal identifying details confidential. If there's something that you want to share that you feel is too personal and you don't want it to be recorded, please feel free to ask us to pause the recording and we'll do that. This is an invitational space, and so participate as you are able. So we're trying to identify or acknowledge that people are human. So if you need to hop onto a call at any point in time, if you need to hop on a little bit late, or if you need to hop off early, we understand that. If you need to get up, get a drink, use the restroom, please do that. Please be a person and we'll be people too. We ask that you'll hold discomfort with grace and deep listening. We're all at different points in our journey, so we understand that sometimes things will be a little bit awkward, and that's okay. It's human. We're not here to fix each other. And this is one of our favorite quotations: choice is the smallest unit of liberation. So please participate as you are able. And we just love that you're here. We're glad to have you here. And let's see, just to get us started, I do have a little centering visualization to take us into. Especially in mind of the eclipse yesterday, I've been thinking a lot of solar cycles and some of my favorite places in the world. Claire, you'll probably understand one of my favorite places is Lake Michigan. Yeah. And so for a little visualization, I would like to take us, if the thing would change. Do you guys all have my little sunset picture up there? This was taken in one of my favorite places on Lake Michigan. So if you'd like to take a second to get comfortable in your chairs, you can turn your cameras off if you want to get just a little bit more settled. If you don't want to feel like you're on the spot, just get comfortable in your chair. And we're going to start with 3 big, deep breaths. So 1 big, deep breath in, slow breath out, big, deep breath in, slow breath out, big, deep breath in, slow breath out. As you're starting to feel more centered, set the pace of your own breathing. And the invitation is to come with me to the shore of Lake Michigan at sunset. You can interact with the shore however you want in your imagination. I'll tell you how I like to imagine myself at the shore. I like to stand right at the edge of the water with my toes in the sand and the water lapping at my feet, just as the sun is starting to go down. As I'm in that space, imagine all of the interactions of the elements, the wind coming in, the sound of the waves, the fire of the sun as it goes towards the horizon, the earth beneath my feet, the forest behind me. You can feel these like a strong presence surrounding you. And it's a place where you feel held and fully yourself. And you can breathe out and all of the tension flows away from you. The earth takes it, the waves take it, the clouds take it. And they turn it into something beautiful and magnificent. So take a few more deep breaths here. Breathe in all of these churning, beautiful elements around you. And then breathe out any tension you might be feeling. Breathe in those elements, let them fill you up head to toe. And then breathe them out. One more. Breathe in deep. Breathe out slow. Feel yourself centered here, held and safe. Feel how the whole world around you is beautiful and magnificent and holding you. And just let that fill you up and center you here in our community together. You might want to bring into your awareness the other people who are here in this circle with us and imagine that they're standing on the shore beside you. And imagine what that feels like to be standing together, looking out at the far horizon where the sun is going down. What does that feel like? Take another deep breath in, slow breath out. And as you feel ready, know that you don't have to let go of this image. You can hold it inside you and you can come back to this place anytime you want. But here now, when you feel ready, you can wiggle your fingers and your toes. You might want to roll your shoulders and then open your eyes as you feel ready to come back. And breathe in and welcome yourself back to the circle. And we're so glad to have you here. So glad that you're with us. And welcome any responses if there's anything you'd like to share in response to that little meditation. Otherwise, I'll turn it over to, thank you, Stacy. It looks like Francisco, would you like us to each take a turn introducing ourselves? Oh, I think you're still muted.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I think that we are a very cozy group, that it will be interesting. My invitation after your beautiful visualization is like that we hear from one another, like your name, where are you joining us from today, and what is one word that can describe you? How are you being in the world today? Just one. Yeah. Yeah. So I can model, and I would say Francisco Burgos, and I am joining the call from Wallingford, Pennsylvania, at Pendle Hill. And my word for today is hope. How about if I call in on Ken, and Ken can call in somebody else?
Thanks so much, Francisco. Good afternoon, good morning to everyone. My name is Ken Libby. I work for the Children's Defense Fund at the retreat village at Alex Haley's farm in Tennessee. And my one word for today is dryness. I just feel a dryness in my hands. I need some lotion. So next I'll call upon Sarah Lynn, if you're ready to introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Sarah Lynn, and I am at Guest House Retreat and Conference Center in Chester, Connecticut in the USA. And my word for today is anticipation. And thank you, Erin, for the beautiful meditation. That was wonderful. And I will call on Jules.
Hello, everybody. This is my first time. I didn't really know what to expect. I'm calling in from Cancun, and I actually work with retreat organizers all over the world, so all over. I don't have my own retreat center, but we collaborate with retreat center organizers or individual facilities. So I look forward to learning more about you, and my word is openness. I'll call on Claire Anderson.
Thanks, Jules. My name is Claire Anderson. I'm joining us all from Sienna Retreat Center, which is on the shores of Lake Michigan. Many people who are the ancestral people on this space and are very much still engaged in leadership of various organizations in southeastern Wisconsin. A word that I would describe how I come today is cusp or edge, being on the cusp of something or the edge of something. And I would like to invite Edwin, who is from my home state of California, it looks like.
Hi, thanks, Claire. Edwin Rutch, I'm director of the Empathy Center in Santa Barbara. It's a new center that we're building here. And I guess my word is practicality. And I say Stacy. Oh, it's like Stacy's.
Hi, everyone. Nice to be with you all. My name is Stacy, she, her. I'm calling in from Los Angeles, but I work with Big Bear Retreat Center up in the mountains about 2 hours east of here. And my word for the day is stretched. Feeling a little thin right now. Let's see. I think Dan.
Hello, I'm from Croatia, Europe, from other side of the world. I'm a president of Croatian Transpersonal Association for 30 years. I hope to have a center, but not yet. I lead some groups. My word is connection with all of you in a very strange way, because I feel nice to see you all in a way that it's a bit strange for me, but that's a quality. I'm glad to be here.
We are glad that you are here, Dan. And I think that Ajay Lewis is the one that is.
I call Aya, Luis, yeah, sorry. I forgot.
Hi. Yes, my name is Asia. I am also from Big Bear Retreat Center, but I'm calling from LA right now as well, technically. And my word for today is creative. That's how I'm feeling today.
Thank you. Thank you. You know, in many occasions, I do the exercise of inviting others to introduce themselves by using the word that is, you know, fulfilling their heart in that particular moment. And I don't know, I think that will start building or invite other people to build a glossary with those words, because, you know, seeing particular words through the lens of others always bring some curiosity, joy, challenges. You know, it's quite interesting. And in the area that we move, this is something that can be very beneficial to all of us. So thank you for sharing your work today in this group. Today, we want to invite you to explore in a open space, and we are a small group. I don't know if we will need to divide ourselves into smaller groups, but back in October, several of us has the opportunity to get together in Ontario, Canada, Five Oaks, another retreat center that is member of this network. And we were exploring many topics. In one of those exercises, and in previous meeting, we have been dancing with the idea of what are the topics that are relevant for retreat center today. Yeah, and we have like a list of 10, 12 different topics that are relevant for what we do. And for today's call, we wanted to invite you to explore a little bit about not just the 10 or 12 topics, but 3 of them. And the idea that Erin and I had was to divide us in subgroup depending of the topics that we wanted to go. But the truth is, like, we are a very small group here, and we can decide to have the conversation among all of us, or we can ask Erin to create one or two two breakout groups that with different topics, and we can choose where to go to have a more deep exploration of those topics. So I don't know. Again, I am looking all of us in my screen, and I said, let me ask them, do you want to explore to explore one or two topics? That means that if it's one, we remain here. If it's two, we go into a smaller group. So let me start there to do this democratic process within us. How do you feel about having being in only one group today? If this is okay, give me your thumb up. Yeah. Thanks. So easy decision. So and here are the topics that we were curating for us. The three main topics that we wanted to explore today are intergenerational leadership, successful programs, stories, and resilience. So I do things that, despite that we are presenting them as if they are separate, these three topics has a lot to do. You know, there is a lot of intersectionality between the three of them. So we will have the three of them in the chat, and I will say that we can, I invite you to share wherever you feel moved through the angle of these topics that you feel is the one that you want to bring to our attention today, instead of just discriminating one single topic.
Would you mind putting them in the chat so that we can always have them?
Yes,
in writing?
Erin is putting them in the chat right now. And the invitation is that we spend brainstorming here, the next 15, 20 minutes. And I know that all of us are so eager to speak, but let's use our electronic hands or wave to us, and that way we will be able to call on you to have some type of organization and the capacity to hear to one another.
May I just ask clarification on number 2? I'm not really sure what that really means. Successful program stories.
Yeah, many retreat centers are already doing activities, meaning programs that are blooming. And it is very common that we hear a lot about the challenges that we are having. But how about if we can hear about a program that is doing good from, that can inspire others to say, oh, or can inspire questions like, why do you think that this program is going that way? So this is what we were thinking, that it is important to hear that side of the coin too. Like, I can give you an example. At Pendle Hill, we just did a program that was like a sanctuary space for LGBTQ plus people, and the idea was like for them to dream what other spaces in society need to be reimagined for them to be really feel fully accepted. Yeah. And that program, was full. It was the experience of people participating in the program was already intergenerational, was interfaith, many aspects that really show the diversity and the need that sector of the population had, that we thought, wow, that was one call. The program was very successful, not just in the aspect that that I am just referring to, but also in the content. And they were able to have, intimate conversation and at the same time challenge some of the status quo experience that they can find in certain spaces by dreaming about them. Yeah. Do that make sense? Yeah. So then
Can you explain me more about what's about the first thing, intergenerational leadership?
yeah,
Thanks.
thank you. We can approach intergenerational leadership at different level. One level can be like our admin team within our centers, the people that are at management level. Yeah, is a reflection of multiple generation, or are just a monolithic age group that is the one leading the efforts within our institution? That can be one lens. Another lens can be associated to, who are the people that we are inviting to our retreat centers to lead certain activities? Are those people representing a multiple age group that can benefit and speak more directly to what we are trying to create? That's the piece of intergenerational leadership. At least these two lenses that we wanted to invite you to explore. Any more clarification questions here?
Should you do resilience just to get all three?
Yeah, speak about resilience.
Yep.
How is that we are coping with the challenges of today? You name it. You have so many. We have so many challenges. And maintaining our integrity and the way of moving forward independently of the many limitations that we have. How are we recreating ourselves in the process? Yeah. That would be some guidance question right there for that. So knowing that, and knowing that it's 2:00, two or three, I think that it will be interesting if we I don't know, decide to share about any of these three topics today, and if we can take 1 or 2 minutes as we share, that would be fantastic. The economy of the time.
Well, I can get started just from what your explanation sparked in me, especially from the success stories.
That would be great.
I think what I kind of picked up from that is understanding who you're serving and understanding that underappreciated communities, minorities in this case, their needs, their pain points, and catering the experience to make, to address those needs, right? Maybe even fears, maybe even some pains that they're experiencing, right? And allow them an opportunity to be themselves. And in a way that applies to all of the successful programs, retreats, really anything, any business really. If a business understands their target audience, their client, and really what it is that personally makes a difference for them and delivers that as part of their experience, I believe that is a key ingredient in success. So I loved the experience you shared of that event. I think that is beautiful. In terms of intergenerational leadership, I can't really add anything to that. Resilience, I think, is a as you said, it's almost like a global epidemic where it's not something we can just address once. It's not ever going to be, okay, yeah, I'm resilient, because something else is going to come. The world always finds new challenges to throw at us. So building up a toolkit for ourselves as leaders and also for those that we serve, and helping them have access to these toolkits, and at least being aware that those tools exist, because sometimes we may know a tool exists, but we may not need it until we hit that roadblock. So it's building the awareness around the tools that exist. And whenever they need that help, that resource, they can pull into that, or they can connect with the right person, or they can get into the right support group. And in a way, resilience to me also is elevated by community and by support. So on our own, we're a lot weaker than when we're with a crowd or with a community. And that's where, retreats and communities become so much more valuable to people, because we're no longer feeling alone. That would be my 2 cents.
Thank you. Go ahead, Edwin.
Yeah, I could just say we're just starting a retreat center. So we just purchased, my brother purchased this property here in Santa Barbara. So we're at the beginning stages of making a successful program stories. So looking for any inspiration, and also looking very much for the practical kind of things, like how do we find a good 501c3 lawyer that has experience with retreat centers? How do we do the furnishings? Where is the sort of the demand? In terms of we have a lot of renovations to do from the ground up. Major architectural renovations. So just looking to hear from other retreat centers what their experiences are, and there are a lot of really just sort of practical, getting things off the ground. In terms of resilience, the core of what we're doing is building a more empathic society. So it's to raise the level of empathy in societies is our mission. But we're open to all kinds of different workshops, and so yeah. Anyway, it's looking for really those practical kind of things to do here. Everything from hiring and staffing and just everything. Yeah, I see Claire shaking your head. I think you've probably gone through it. So I'm seeing some empathy there or identification. Yeah, thanks.
Ed, sorry, Sarlin.
No, you go ahead, Claire.
I didn't raise my hand. You should go.
Well then, that'll teach you to raise your hand. Okay, thank you. Let's see, I was going to share, Edwin, if you'd like to reach out, offline, I can put my email in if you, need any supports with some practical things. We might be able to support you. So I guess I'm really thinking today about resilience. But I also wanted to share a little bit about programs. So Guest House we don't do our own programs, so we don't contact teachers and set up a program and do registration, that sort of thing. And we don't have our own curriculum that we're teaching. So we just rent our venue to all sorts of amazing groups that are just doing incredible work in the world. And, so our mission is to support and nurture people that are doing transformative work. And of course, that becomes our transformative work. It's really interesting to hold the space for lots and lots of different types of groups. And so what I've seen be really successful in the last couple of years is grief groups have really grown at our venue. So I just think that you know, it's not, it's, some of them are grief groups that are like, you know, you've lost a loved one and you're grieving. But some of them are also really taking on like a greater, view of grief, and just really how many of us are grieving for the world, and about how that can, on top of your own personal losses and things, it can really be quite challenging. And so those groups are very, very well attended and really growing. So I think if anyone is looking, you know, for a program that is needed, and you might take some type of curriculum, or I'm thinking about like Edwin's, you know, empathy, like their focus is on empathy, but how you can connect empathy and grief could be quite powerful. And then the other thing that we've really seen grow is music programs. And I think that, you know, people just need music more than ever, you know, just to uplift them, to soothe them, to connect them with others. And so we have seen a big increase in our music groups. And then the third thing is social action. So here in Connecticut, there are just, I feel like there's new groups forming every day. You know, so we've been having lots of inquiries from people who are just not happy with the way things are going and the political climate in our country. And, you know, a lot of them are ones that are geared towards protecting personal rights. You know, so I just wanted to share that, you know, that's really what we're seeing a lot of. And those are the ones that are the most well attended. And then I think around resilience, we just learned so much, not only from going through COVID, but then also soon after COVID, having a number of key players in our management team come to retirement age. And, you know, so even being prepared with succession planning and things like that is all part of our resiliency, right? So, you know, if anybody has, you know, any need in that area, or, you know, other practical things about running a center, you know, we're happy to help and share information. This group is wonderful that way. Everybody's really open with sharing things. I had a group recently that was just you know, coming online, and they just didn't even know where to start with a contract. So a few of us shared our contracts with them, and it helped them so much to, you know, then they could just extrapolate from our contracts, what did they need, instead of trying to reinvent the wheel. So that was kind of fun. So if we could be of any help that way, I'm happy to do it.
Go ahead, Claire.
Thanks. What both of you, Edwin and Sarah Lynn, have just shared is kind of where I find myself at, even though I've been in this position for quite a while, several years. It seems like it's always a new, fresh, different time that calls for something new and different and fresh. And when I shared earlier about kind of being on the cusp of something, for me, it kind of feels like there's a new time now after the pandemic. It just feels to me like, oh, okay, we survived this. And it's time to really take a deep dive into where are we now? Where is our society? Where are the new hungers and longings? Because I think we've landed differently in our society than when we came into it. One of the groups that we've seen, I would share that just similar to Sarah Lynn, with grief retreats or grief programs or grief groups, I would say that is also something that we are that we're experiencing, people wanting to talk about grief and process some of those feelings that might be more like eco grief or grief just for some other theme, or it might be grief over the loss of somebody, delayed grief because maybe they couldn't grieve when the person died 2 years ago or whenever. So some complicated grief there. We're also, though, for us, we're finding that new entities, new groups are finding us after we've been around for almost 60 years. And so we have longstanding relationships with many groups, but some groups have disbanded. And the type of group that's starting to find us more and more are mindfulness, meditation, contemplative groups. And there seems to be a hunger for that kind of quiet, that kind of grounding or centering that maybe in the instantaneous world of our cell phones and everything, that there is a hunger that's maybe surfacing that is more contemplative. I'll leave it at that.
I can piggyback on what Claire was sharing. We always at Pendle Hill has had the opportunity of welcoming those type of groups, and for the past year, I would say that one of the things that I have encountered is seeing that more activist groups also are coming to Pendle Hill. And it's a beauty because, we always were aiming to increase that participation and welcoming of those segments of the people that we serve. And post-COVID, one of the fear that we had was like, everybody was so accustomed and on getting on a Zoom call and do training on Zoom and all of that. And I don't know if you remember, but that was one of the discussions that we were having very early during the pandemic. Like, what does this mean? This will mean for us as a retreat center. And in our experience, we have seen a new influx of the diversity of the groups that we serve. Yeah, the historical and traditional groups that were using our facility for their own purpose has diversified in ways that I cannot believe it. This is one thing. The other thing has been historical groups that were coming here for many, many, many years. And for some reason, pre-COVID, were struggling to get together, are coming back with new energy. And I said, wow, there is something that they are doing well, that we are doing well. Like, I have so much curiosity to engage in this type of conversation for finding out, like, what are the driving forces now that are allowing us to increase this participation and to engage in a more meaningful relationship, institutional relationship. Yeah.
Francisco, for the activist groups that have started to come to your center, was that a relationship that you intentionally cultivated, or did they just start having interest in your center?
No, we always has had a core of a activist group that has used our facility for many reasons. they feel welcome, they feel safe here, they feel, accepted, and so on. You can name it. But, the level of unions organizers, just to name one group, using our facilities over the past 2 years has blew my mind. We were accustomed to one or two, and suddenly you have this nationwide movement of people coming to Pendle Hill that you say like, wow, this is amazing. And I approached them, and they say, well, this group told us about you, and we told about you to this other group, and suddenly, it's mouth to mouth. It's like, if, wow, this is great. This is like my old neighborhood. Yeah, it's mouth to mouth. We are talking to one another, and this is the place where I'm having good experience. I recommend you to use it and go. And it's working. It's working. Like the amount of lineup that I have right now, that we have for groups coming, is remarkable. Yeah. Yeah, Claire needed to go, but she let us know in the chat.
I think I'd like to join in the conversation here and say it would be interesting to get a formal measure, name the metrics that we need to understand that movement that folks have talked about since the pandemic, and the need people have to come to our different locations and take part in what we can offer them. Here at the Alex Haley Farm, we are very much driven by the organization that owns us. The Children's Defense Fund sends a lot of different groups here, and we do have curriculums we do teach to those groups. We have to see ourselves as pretty successful in the 3 topics that were raised for today's discussions. We do look to the young people to lead us. We do look to the young people to help us understand how things need to be moving to better serve them, rather than gray-haired people sitting around and dictating this is the way we need to operate things. We very much expect the children to tell us their lived experience and then help us understand how we can help them in moving forward. And we've been running the retreats here for 30 years. So the success comes over all those years. And I made a comment in the chat about how resilience is not just about enduring, but knowing that you can come at it again and you can recreate yourself in order to show that resilience. And that's what the staff here are doing. But then the groups that we are bringing in, they're looking to model some of that intergenerational leadership. They're looking for their own efforts while they're here and after they leave here to be intergenerational. And so we do have to model a lot of that for them. And then we have to tell them of other groups that have come to our retreats, and the fact that we're still in contact with them, we're still hearing from them, and we get to feed those stories back to them, to the new groups that come in, to let them know that they can have success and they can be in contact and conversation with those other groups that have been here in the past. So yeah, I started out looking at this list of topics and thinking, what can our center be doing to succeed at that? But it's just not our staff. It's the the folks that we host, they also need to know that they can achieve those three mile markers, those three milestones for themselves while they're on retreat.
Hmm. This is good stuff here. Yeah, Ken, that expanded definition of resiliency is very Franciscan. Let me put it that way. Yeah. There are, you raise something that has been very critical for us, and what are the metrics that we need to be paying attention to? You know, I know that if you go to the RCC webpage, if you go into the resources tab, you will find some documents there that can speak a little bit about some metrics that has been considered while analyzing our industry. You know, the sustainability toolkit that was developed at the end of last year was something important for us to think a little bit, and that document is one document that I go back often to see, what was the trends when analyzing these retreat centers and the support that we received there, how much truth there is for my scenario when I look at those scenarios. So I think that would be interesting, and there are others resources there that I invite you to explore. But yeah, metrics is something that we most need to take one call of these just to focus. What are the metrics that we need to be focusing on? Because there are programs metric, there are financials metric, there are, so many of them. This is something that is very close to heart, because I think that I am pushing my colleagues within my administration team to define those metrics together with my board. So that way everybody will be on the same page.
Yeah, and Francisco, I popped a couple of links into the chat so people can take a look at both the community surveys that RCC has done back through the years. I think goes back to 2020 maybe. And then the sustainability toolkit, which was a Cal Poly study in conjunction with a student group from Cal Poly Technical University, which could just be the beginning. There could be an expansion on that study into the future.
Yeah, the beauty about having this type of conversation is, like, as we listen to one another, like, what is the next learning that we must embrace? Yeah, and the sharing of resources that we can identify as a community to keep moving forward, Yeah. I don't know. I ask, in regards to climate change issue, all facilities or new facility, how this is coping with the price structure that we use in a retreat center, for example. And I don't know if any of you want to jump in.
I'm sorry, Francisco, did you say the crisis?
When you look at, there are many of our facilities that are old facilities that always have a big need for addressing deferred maintenance. Yeah. If you, on top of that, put the layer of climate change and how our facilities, our grounds are coping with the, the things that we have been facing lately, together with our pricing structure. This is something that is talking to one another? It's just like, how are we addressing those gaps? It's one of my curiosity. I don't know. By the way, my center will be celebrating 95 years next year. I have all buildings.
Well, I'll just say I've been checking out all your retreat centers and looking at your furniture, how you set up the rooms and stuff like that. So getting inspiration, that's some amazing places you have.
And I do know, in reference at least to the community surveys, we're always looking for feedback from the community on what's useful, but also what's not useful to you, or if there's some gap that you see, where, that the staff at RCC is not a monolith, and you have lived experience working with your retreat centers that we just don't have. So if you have any feedback or suggestions for the way things are structured, or something that would be helpful to you that we could include in the next community survey, please do send those to me, and I'll pop my email in the chat and keep a record of things, so we can make changes into the future going forward, so things are as helpful for you as they can be.
Just mentioned there's a couple of other retreat center directors that I just get together with like every 4 months or so, just to kind of share ideas. So some kind of a bringing people together like that. I think Claire mentioned she was open for contacting, and Sarah Lynn, appreciate your invitation too. I think that's really helpful to kind of share sort of needs and ideas and questions.
Can I ask like an open question?
Sure.
So I'm sort of in a different situation. And again, I didn't know what to expect from this call. I don't own any retreat centers. I actually collaborate with retreat center organizers or other facilities. So I'm looking to help you guys fill the centers, fill the events and things like that. So what would be the best, do you have any specific activities for that, or any sort of member areas, or any way you can direct me to be more of service and connect with the right people who may, be interested in those kinds of things?
I would say that this is, it depends on, we are a large network of retreat center. I think last time that I checked, we were around 300. And you can imagine how diverse this is. So you have retreat center that are very small, you have retreat center that are very large, and you have a big group in the middle. Yeah. This is one layer. The other layer is like, you have retreat center that are faith-based retreat center. You have retreat center that are not. I mentioned this because that is a reflection of how different the needs can be from one place to the other. And at the same time, there is so much room for common space where we are facing the same questions, where we are trying to respond to the same needs, and where we are, trying to figure out things together as a community. Many of our retreat center, and I will speak for Pendle Hill, for example, we deal with the needs that we have from a program base in two different ways. One is our internal offerings, and we have a team of people that are their job is to put together a menu of programs that will be offered every year. Yeah. And the recruitment piece is associated also to what that team does to serve the retreat center. And the other aspect of it, the other side of the coin is, we have a conference center too, if that aspect of the retreat center where people are coming here with their own activities, so that they are just partnering with us to use the facilities and to we provide room and board, and that way they can be focused on their work and we take care of the hospitality piece. So again, each retreat center, I think, will be completely different. I don't know how others will answer that questions from this small group today.
So just to follow up, just to get some clarity. So how do people get to know one another? How do they connect with one another within this community or within any events that you guys facilitate? Like how do you guys work? Like, this is my first time, so apologies if I didn't do my research, but
There are several venues. This type of calls is one of them. We try to have annually a retreat where retreat centers are invited to send a few people. At the same time, there is the community call, and there are other calls that are most focus based, that are organized in what we call circle, and there is a sustainability circle, and there is a stewardship circle that is the one right now that is supporting the leadership of the RCC. And around those circles, the communication continue, the conversation continue. Another layer of this is the self-organized retreat center within the network, either by geographic region or by affinity, based on faith or other type of experience. So there are multiple facets of all of that.
Yeah, I'm sharing a
Excellent.
link in the chat to our Meet Your Peers page, showing some of the different ways that our community connects with each other. We do also have a private Facebook group where retreat center leaders can connect with each other online.
Wonderful. Thank you.
And when I was first introduced to the RCC, I posted in here the network map. And in the network map, you can actually move through and look at some descriptions of all the different retreats that are part of the RCC. And Jules, if you have customers, if you have clients who are looking for particular types of a retreat, you may in fact be able to just go to this RCC network and then get to see the breadth of diversity. Those who are centered on age groups, environmental questions, spiritual questions, silence versus different efforts. The resources on the RCC website are just immense for you to then form contacts and learn more, and then reach out to see which RCC member could serve your groups, your clients.
Yeah, that's perfect. That's exactly what I'm looking to do. Is 'cause, I'm building connections with both the retreat leaders, community leaders that are running the events, and those who are filling the events or providing the board and lodging, right? So these people may work with the retreat center, or they may have a multi-itinerary retreat. It depends. So I'm helping. I need the connections with both ends. So that's perfect. I will study the peers and connect with those.
Yeah. And I've got 2 other retreat centers in my area I've tried to have them join the RCC, but if you've got a particular region of the country or North America that you're looking for, you could reach out to those RCC leaders and see if they know of other places. So yeah.
Thank you for that.
Yeah. And again, we try to think about the retreat centers as just geographically located. And I will share with you, 1 month from now, I am taking a retreat from my retreat center to Central America. You see, this is like there is the life beyond the geographical area where your center is something that is very alive these days. I don't know if there is anything else to add, but I am seeing that with our conversation today, that there are many other topics that we may want to bring back to larger conversations with other people included. Like, I hear very clearly that the metric is something that we must revisit, and keeping the exploration of the network in the different affinity aspect that we serve, and how to expand and explore that two-end possibility that Jolts was mentioning, and the part in between of refining our way of being in relationship with facilitators, and being very clear and loud about the type of service and welcoming that we can provide is important. And from Edwin, I think that it is very clear that from Edwin and Dan, I will put your curiosity in the same categories. That being very clear about the level of resources that we must identify for people that are looking to establish their centers is something that is critical. And thank you, Salaline, for being of help and about sharing your expertise on that. I think that this is one of the beauty of this network, that works for me. I can tell you, when I started my tenure as executive director of this organization, coming to RCC and being in relationship with other executive directors, sharing my curiosity and having the support of listening and learning from my peer was one of the real blessings that I got. And I celebrate that, every single day. Let me ask you a question. Is there anything else that you want us to keep in mind as we explore potential topics for a next community call?
Well, there could be just some topics that are of interest, through your survey, and having an expert just speak on the topics like the legal aspects or liability issues, or kind of breaking down the different areas that we're all dealing with, and having someone present a little bit so you can get some deeper insight. That could be helpful. There is also, just like you were going to do, the breakout rooms to just have a little bit of networking with and meet. That was very helpful to meet everyone here. Just got a bunch of emails. I'll be sure to follow up, and so that's very helpful.
Yeah. Thank you.
I do.
All right, well, thank you, everybody. I'll have to drop off, but yeah, sorry, you want to mention something?
No, I was just gonna say that you had mentioned business and marketing in the chat too, and we've had a couple of marketing calls over the last couple of years, and I can add those to the notes for this call if people are interested in exploring what happened on those calls.
Yeah, if you have any replays that they already
Mhm.
discussed that, I'd appreciate that as well.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I'll drop my email in the chat just if you guys have those replays, if you want to send them to me directly, that'd be great too. Thanks. Nice to meet everybody. Bye.
Thank you. So, Erin, I will go back to you as we try to transition, and there is nothing else for us to discuss as a group.
Yeah, if everyone feels like we've filled out the list, yeah, please feel free to reach out to me at any time. I'll repost my email here in the chat. If there's something else that you are interested in talking about on a community call, we would love to hear about that. And I can always communicate that to the Stewardship Circle. Francisco is one of the Stewardship Circle members. So my email has just been popped into the chat. Yeah, and if any other ideas come up afterwards, or if you have any other questions or follow-up, please reach out to me, and I'll be glad to chat with you a little bit after the call. And our next community call will be on April 23rd. That'll be a racial healing workshop. And I don't think the topic for that is specifically set yet, but we'll have more information in the coming week, and that'll be sent out in an email to those who are signed up to our newsletter. And I will also post a link to that in the chat as well. So I think that's everything. And we're just so glad that you could all join us today and talk with us, and look forward to seeing you again on another call very soon.
Thanks,
Have a good day, everyone.
So good to see you all.
Yep, you too.
Bye now.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.